Well, I did get the 4th of July tablescape completed this morning. Well, nearly completed. I need to go up in the attic and find my water glasses that have stars and stripes on them. In the heat, not in the middle of the day. Woke up this morning and said to Donnie, hey, you know what? There's a fire truck show at the North Carolina Transportation Museum today. That's really a great thing. There's going to be over 100 fire trucks there. The only problem with the Transportation Museum in June is that it's really super hot. You're out in the middle of an open field with no shade, and then you're in buildings for the most part which don't have air conditioning. We've been many times and we're very fond of the trains. We even took an excursion on one of their mountain runs on the J611, I think, steam, restored steam engine. So at any point, we are headed down to Spencer, North Carolina, which is just north of Charlotte. It is 124 miles approximately down there to see the fire trucks. We are probably just going to park along the route where they're going to do the parade. Most of the fire trucks are in running order, even the antique ones, and we'll go in the parade. We'll miss seeing a few, but not many, and that way we won't get too hot and we can still say we saw everything, especially since we've been inside there before. But yeah, we're just out for a nice ride in Ruby. Don has on his new SpaceX shirt. Yeah, we were charged up to 80%, but when we made the decision we were going, he did go plug her back in or restart charging, and we left with 249 miles. So our plan, without too much thought today, honestly, is just to go to the museum and then charge in Burlington on the way back, just to make sure that we've, not thinking about range too much. This is obviously a little shorter trip than that trip we made previously down to Charlotte and back, where we went through Monroe. So yeah, we have other options. We have Greensboro, we have farther south to Charlotte. There's lots of choices here. I bet there's even a level 2 charger somewhere in Spencer around the train museum. So, but we've got plenty of charge, and it's a pretty day, and we are out for another little short road trip. When we leave our house now, it routes us out the back way, which we like, and then it's going to put us on 421 up to the Greensboro area, and then south on 85 to the train museum, which is here in Salisbury, or specifically Spencer, North Carolina. But you can see the Burlington supercharger up here and the Greensboro supercharger. I guess it's a toss-up. The Greensboro one's a little west out of the way. You looked it up. How far off the beaten path would it have been for us?
Yeah, I didn't actually look at the Greensboro because I used the Tesla trip planner, and I put in our home address, the NC Transportation Museum, and our home address, and it routed us through the Burlington supercharger on the way back. So we'll hit the supercharger on the way back. It says we'll have to charge for 20 minutes at the supercharger to get back. Another thing is I use Google Maps, and I was quite pleased now that I guess in my history I typed in the Transportation Museum, and then I typed in the supercharger, and it knew about the Burlington supercharger. I didn't have to type very much to get the supercharger to pop up. So I can actually, around North Carolina now, use Google Maps to kind of plan everything. Of course, it doesn't tell you how long to charge and stuff that way, but it does do a good job now of at least it recognizes Fayetteville, Burlington, Charlotte, and Wilmington superchargers are like in my little pop-up list. Like as soon as I type in Tesla, the service center and the store and the superchargers all show up.
Yeah, so on the way home, basically, we would just be staying on, this is 4085 together here, and then come down US 155 back to the house.
Yeah, Burlington is really close to the interstate.
Right, that superchargers, that's where we saw the Model 3 road trip. That one is easy, pretty easy on, easy off.
Yes.
And all I was trying to say is this upper loop coming back versus this lower loop now on a weekend, afternoon, or evening is no big deal. Now, I would not want to come through this stretch over here on like Friday afternoon at 5. That would be a disaster, versus this is always going to be pretty easy going. But yeah, it's just probably about 10, maybe 15 more miles to take the upper loop. Dawn is training Ruby right now on this backcountry road. We've been following this guy with his trailer and his lawn tractor, but she handled that braking and letting him go. Speed limit is 55 here. Not too many cars out on this country road right now.
Yes, this is a really nice curvy road. I mean,
we're on Highway 42.
Yeah.
Yeah, Highway 42 headed west. Well, Dawn's impressed. She really slowing down for these country road turns today. Doing a great job.
Yeah, I mean.
And this road is pretty wide, so there's a little bit of, you know, room for her to maneuver the turns.
Right. It doesn't fall off. It's got a foot extra there.
Yeah, there's a real bike lane here.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit.
Okay.
A lot of bicyclists ride this road, so, you know, this is one road where if we had a full, you know, 3-foot wide bike lane, it would be really good for the bicyclists. Although my understanding is they're running packs, and rarely do they stay within the bike lane. But there's been accidents on this road that people get upset at the bicyclists, which is terrible that they do that. You know, hey, they slow you down a little bit, just, you know.
All right, Ruby, slow for the curve. Slow for the curve, Ruby.
She slowed.
Wow, she did slow. It was almost like you took that curve, Donnie.
Yeah. Well,
that was pretty good. You didn't. Dawn didn't do anything except hold the wheel.
I was.
Put pressure on the wheel. What's the new wording?
Torque, resistance.
Yeah, well, you have to press down on the wheel or something. There's new wording for autopilot now, right?
Yeah.
We don't have that update yet, but yeah, we knew all along what it meant. All right, we just cannot get over how good a job she is doing slowing down for these curves on this road. Normally, Dawn would have had to have taken over. Well, part of it has to do is there's nobody coming in the other direction, but also she's actually slowing down, and therefore when she applies what she knows the curve to be, she's doing a really good job. So I think we're still on 2018.21.9.
Right. This is a noticeable change. I have driven this road before on autopilot, and it you know, there was no slowing down. She would get behind on the steering because, you know, technically 60 miles an hour is too fast for this road. It's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. But with curves that you really need to hang at like 45, she's slowing down right now. There's nobody coming, nobody coming, nobody coming. And she stayed in the lane pretty good. Yep. If there would have been a car coming, I would have taken control in that scenario. But if I would slow her down to 55, who wants to do that?
Right. What fun is that on these curves?
Right. Yeah. And but anyway, this is a noticeable change. Now I need to say she's not slowing down like a person would. She's doing that. She's almost like she's pumping the brakes.
Tentative.
Yeah, she's kind of hitting the brakes 2 or 3 times versus a one nice smooth deceleration. So I would say that, you know, the fact she knows she needs to slow down is the big thing, and the fact that she's not silky smooth slowing down like a human driver would be it's just going to take a little bit more time for the refine the algorithm. But the important thing is she sees the curve, she says we need to slow down. Since this is on a curve.
Dawn went out of autopilot just to make sure we cleared the bikers safely, but like we said, there are bikers on this road. And now he'll put her back in autopilot when she tells him he can. We're not fooling around with nobody out there on a bike.
Right.
So Donnie, have you had any autopilot nags today?
Not one. The road's so twisty curvy that she's constantly turning the wheel enough that my resistance or my hand being on the wheel, she could detect it. So as I said, the nags really happen on like long straight roads where there's not very little steering input on her needed by her, and in that case there's unless you actually cause your muscles to move the wheel a little bit, she will not detect your hands on the wheel. So curvy roads are, you get less nags on them.
Wow, it's nice out there today. Well, we've been on 421 a whole 3 miles, and Don's already gotten his first autopilot nag. So it really does make a difference whether you're driving on the straight interstate or you're driving on a road with some curves.
Right.
I'm just looking up, enjoying my view of the sky. I'm pretty much ruined for life driving in a car that doesn't have the wide open windshield. All right, we're coming up on our exit. We're in autopilot. We're getting off of 421 onto 85.
This is a legitimate
Don is
exit.
Turned on the signal.
And it's not.
Let's see.
Going.
It's not going, so he's having to take her over. So there was some discussion this week about, well, when will she or won't she exit under autopilot? And there is an example where we tried, but she would not. And by the way, this is, you know, we're just moving from 421 to I-85, and there's no stop sign or stoplight. So the car could have handled this if she would have just moved lanes.
Right. She just, really, you could argue that that's that thing that she won't change lanes on for some whatever reasons on certain roads that are divided highways, and that she still won't. Although she changed lanes several times on that stretch, I don't know that, you know, that I'd have to do a test. But I think that.
All right. Well, this is where I was saying the other day that if you can get her to change lanes into the exit lane, you know, some of these are double lanes a mile in advance, you're good to go, because then she's just line following and she doesn't know that she's exiting or doesn't care. But at the last minute, if you're lane changing into a pretty short ramp, pretty short lane leading up to the exit, if she won't move over, she won't move over. There's nothing you can do but take her out of autopilot and move her yourself.
Now she just did that thing where the first time I turned my turn signal on, she would not get over, and there was no reason for her not to get over. We're on the interstate now. And then I turned the turn signal off and immediately turned it right back on, and she got over like lickety-split. I've had that scenario before too.
So North Carolina has some really awesome interstate wildflower and flower plantings every year. Lilies, canna lilies, crepe myrtles, lots of places over here, see where the dirt is, where they'll put in cosmos and bachelor buttons and other things. It can be really pretty along the interstate in the summertime. We're getting off at our exit, and Don needed to move over 2 lanes, and twice he signaled and Ruby wouldn't move over, so he turned the turn signal off and he signaled again, and the second time, both times, it actually moved him. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but, and he wasn't turning the turn signal on when there was anybody there, at least not that we could see or thought was close enough to worry about. So apparently we got here just in time to see
Blue!
One of the heritage units for Norfolk and Southern is hooked up to this train, apparently. I've seen one in Fuquay before. They're beautiful, the paint jobs on them.
Looks like his cab is facing this way, guys.
Hey, Dave Vollmer, this one's for you, bud. We're train chasing today.
Here he comes!
Oh yes, baby, we're gonna feel the heat. I'll move if you want me to. Wow. Oh God, that is so cool. good size, pretty good. No, this is a real train. Thank you, Ruby Navigation, for bringing us in this exit instead of the next one up. You did us real good today. Again, what it was we saw?
So that was Conrail Heritage Unit.
Okay, not Norfolk and Southern.
Well, no, it was Norfolk Southern, but it was their Conrail Heritage Unit. One
Okay.
they painted
Okay.
for the 30th. So Conrail
is Norfolk Southern?
Conrail now.
No, it's just a heritage engine for its historic reproduction, right, of a prior.
Of a predecessor railroad.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. So Conrail is now part of NS, as is Southern, Norfolk, and Western, and all them. That's why they painted them. So that was the paint scheme for the Conrail Railroad.
Way cool. Thank you. So I had Don turn around because we have spotted a Tesla Model S in Spencer, North Carolina, and it's charging over here at this little garage. I paused to wave. So Don put the suspension on very high, came up right over that little sidewalk lip there and parked us here in this perfect parade spot. Don says great minds think alike. We are here at the Transportation Museum, and this is the train that carries visitors to the museum on a little excursion. It goes out and then it comes back. How cool is that? Nothing like having the train go right underneath you. We'll come back this way in just a few minutes. That's cute, a firehouse bounce house. I like it. It's got your fire hydrant up here. It's got your door for the fire engine to come in and out of. It's got your little fire truck on the side. I see a mural. So we have used the restroom, gotten a little bit of information about the parade, parked me in a spot not far from Ruby and in a good spot for the parade route, and Don has walking to get the tripod and the 2 lawn chairs. I love this guy. I really do love him.
That's right.
Frunk makes for perfect lawn chair storage and your favorite hat, which I never wear but take with me anyway. All right, so Ruby is confirming what we already knew. We should stop in Burlington and supercharge, it says, for 25 minutes.
How much does it say left? 9%?
9% when we get to Burlington.
Right, so we're down to 102 miles.
And then that'll get us home at 22% if we charge for 25 minutes. And we were tracking really good on the trip over here, exactly what she calculated. I
agree.
So I'm not too worried about it on, you know, tracking on the way back and us being good to go.
Not worried at all.
Whose car?
It belongs to the doctor in Chapel Hill.
Oh, okay.
So he wanted to park it in a safe spot, so he came and talked to you, or? The short story on the white Tesla is it had a flat and it got towed over here, and those guys at the garage are taking good care of it for the doctor that owns it. They fixed the tire, and he'll be back to pick it up at the end of the weekend, and it'll have enough charge to get him to the supercharger.
They got to charge it on 120.
Yeah, it's on 120. They had a little trouble understanding that this was also a Tesla that we were in, because I guess it looks different enough. Well, the air conditioner was making a lot of noise. They thought it was a ice car. So we turned the air off and it got silent. Yeah, so anyway, we enjoyed talking to them. They were nice folk, but that was rural North Carolina at its finest. I had Dawn turn around and come back. I could not leave Spencer without getting this picture.
That's right, yeah, well, we figured.
Oh, that's why. You got to get that close.
The crew let me.
Fast though. It's gonna be
Wow. That was still cool. So I'm still in Spencer, and we're chasing trains. We're hoping another Heritage unit's gonna come through here in a few minutes. Well, this waiting on trains is hot work in the summer. Apparently it's not run like clockwork on these non-passenger trains like you might think. The gentleman across the road over there, he's got a scanner and he's monitoring the frequency coming out of Spencer shop. So we sort of know when they're coming, but there's several waiting to come through, and they've got to be in just the right position or they can't come. So we do have a train coming now. I'm waiting for the gates to go down. Yeah, it's time for it to go.
Standard cap, it's 40.
No, it is a standard.
I caught that? I caught that? Sorry.
Don told me I'm not allowed to worry. I'm trying.
6%? That's like 30 miles.
So I did see another train come through after that Amtrak, but it just had 3 regular NNS engines on the front, no Heritage engine. We left the guys waiting over there. They're still hoping another one's gonna come through and it's gonna have a Heritage engine on it. Maybe, maybe not. There are 20 special painted NNS trains. I've now seen 3, I believe. Veterans, 8114, and the Conrail that we saw today, the blue engine. So exciting. Would have loved to have seen another one though. It was hot out there, really hot. What's the temperature, Donnie? Says 91 out here on the interstate. And and we're headed to the Burlington Supercharger, and yeah.
It says we'll be there in 25 minutes.
It was a better view from the other side on the way to the museum, but interstate sunflowers. Don's lucky I don't make him stop and let me get out and take some pictures. Okay, I'm much happier at 9%. Don hasn't slowed up, not even a little. And we're plenty comfortable in here on the air conditioning, and we're now up to 10%. Don says the elevation in this direction has us going more downhill, and that's probably why we've picked up a few percentage points.
Right.
We'll show that from Teslafy output later. The sky doesn't get any prettier than that here in North Carolina. Alright, I just did the stopwatch so we can see how long it takes to get from the exit to the supercharger, which is not going to be too long, but there may be a stoplight. It's 5:46 p.m.
The mall
shopping center
parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of, I mean, I know it's got a lot of
yeah, well, there's
services.
a theater here, you might remember.
But yeah, something tells me if we would have came in that entrance right up ahead,
that's probably the thing to have done. Yeah.
Yeah. So this might be one of those you may want to look at mapping out a little bit before you actually come here. Oh, it's in the shade.
And it's not iced in, despite the fact that the parking lot's pretty busy.
Right.
All right, I'm going to count us here at 7 minutes and 25 seconds off the interstate. And there's a white Model X charging. I know you can't see this screen. I'll take a screenshot of it and throw it up. But for me, I'm using Google Maps to navigate for the first time on foot. I'm told that I'm walking, and it was a little hard to understand, but I think we're on track with the direction we need to go to find Cold Stone. And I want to know where Don's one wheel is and my longboard is. Well, the nice guy here in the X warned us that he had a problem with the charger we plugged into. And we probably just should have moved, and it's basically stopped charging, so we're gonna have to move now. Yeah, we should have listened to you. Yeah. You were right, it's not charging.
That one in.
All right, I'll do that while you move the car. We're really having to work hard for our ice cream tonight because Don had to go back to the car and move Ruby a second time. So we're on our third charger now. I did call Tesla roadside, and I did report that there were problems here at Burlington. They said we weren't the first person to report it. Okay, hopefully we're charging now. He's trying to walk to catch up with me. We're near Cold Stone. Hopefully in a minute. Is the third time gonna be the charm? Okay, was that nice gentleman still parked there?
He had a good chuckle at us. I told him that we had called Tesla and reported it, and they said that 3 and 4 had already been reported.
Yep. All right, well, Cold Stone's just around the corner. You should be able to smell the waffle cones at this point. Don wants Oreo overload. I'm gonna get mint chocolate chip. Well, we're not even done with our ice cream, and Ruby says we've charged enough to continue our trip. And Cold Stone is very, very busy tonight. interesting tree. I have no clue what it is. It has 2 different colored leaves and some interesting flower seed pod. I don't know. We're back to Ruby. We did get a message charging was enough for us to continue on our trip. She is loud trying to keep the battery cool. You can hear her. She sounds like a jet airplane.
Oh yeah, you can feel the heat.
Yeah, coming off underneath the hood out the front.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's coming out from underneath the wheel well, I guess.
Yeah, the whole charging cable.
Yeah.
One of the divas says they carry an oven mitt, and when they pull, you know, when they touch it in the summertime, they put the oven mitt on.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that. I mean, I don't have I can keep my hand here. It's not like burning me, but let me tell you.
Well, we're not in the sun right now. Yeah, it's not the middle of the day. The sun's not overhead.
There's a little ring here. You don't want to really hold on to that too long. So we ready?
Yep, we're ready. So instead of turning right onto Boone Station and going in at the front of the shopping center, go one more light and turn right on Rural Retreat. That brings you in the back of the shopping center. The back of the shopping center is where the supercharger is. That way you avoid the theater and all of the restaurants, especially on a weekend when there's a lot of families out enjoying the shopping center.
Right, I agree.
So Don wants to go the more scenic back road way home, which we've been this way before. Basically, instead of staying on 4085 back over to Raleigh, take 87 down to 64 and come over to Apex, and then 55 down roughly, or he'll probably come in the back way from
cool,
Sharon
Northern
Harris.
Tools.
But that'll take us over Jordan Lake, which is a pretty view when the sun's setting, and that should be nice for us. Don just doesn't like to follow directions.
No.
He's fixing to get on 64 and bypass this. Coming up on our favorite hometown railroad restoration group. This is in New Hill or Bonsall, North Carolina. It's been years since the boys and I came down here on the weekend to ride though. Wow, United States Air Force. It's a dedicated group of volunteers over here that restore a wide variety of engines. Was having so much fun and shooting so many pictures and videos and stuff today, I never got my Pokemon that I needed, so Don had to drive me over to the South Park so I could catch my daily Pokemon and not break my streak. Well, me and Johnny, because I have Johnny's phone today too. And we're getting ready to pull into the driveway here, and so I'll catch some numbers, but it's 8:30 and we're home. All right, we got our act together now. It was just shy of 73 miles since we supercharged in Burlington. But the leg down there and the leg up to the Burlington supercharger was 193 miles, so that's a total of 266 miles.
Right, today. We drove 266 today.